Today we're going to talk about some of the biggest evidence-based reasons that characters get cut from Super Smash Bros. There's a lot of videos out there about who we think is going to get cut. I've made one myself. But what happens when we look at what little actual evidence we have? So using only past precedent on who's been cut from Smash Bros. Previously, as well as some quotes from the big man Sakurai himself, we're going to go over the 5 biggest evidence-based reasons that characters might get cut in the next Smash Bros. Game. And then, just for fun, if any character who's currently on the Ultimate roster ticks any of those 5 categories, even just one, they're eliminated, no questions asked, and we'll see what kind of roster we're looking at by the end. Please don't take that roster part of the video too seriously, we're just doing that for fun. But I know some of you will anyway. I love you guys. Part 1, Attack of the Clones. So when you take a look at the 11 loser rejects who have been cut from the Smash roster previously, over half of them were cut, at least in part, because they were a clone or semi-clone of an existing character. A clone being a character that borrows a lot of properties from another character to make development easier. As Sakurai has discussed a couple times, characters who are similar to another character are naturally going to be lower priority. And you already know where I'm going with this, Echo Fighters. There's this common belief out there that Echo Fighters are like free real estate because they're easier to develop, so like we don't even have to talk about them when cutting characters because they're basically free, and that is dead wrong. Case in point, Alf. We know it was on Sakurai's mind. Rock Pikmin were right there. I know Echo for Alf. Come on, he's trying his best. But yeah, the huge precedent of clone-type characters getting cuts, like even those super cheap Melee clones, lends itself to the idea that Echo Fighters might end up being an echo of the past. Semi-clone type characters should equally be considered as likely cuts, as we've seen in the past. They're typically not the most popular characters anyway, but it's a big but. Because I said no exceptions, that means I'm cutting Luigi too. Ew. Hey, he should have been more original, okay? Why are you always copying your shorter, fatter brother? Man, get some confidence in yourself. Oh, this also means I'm cutting Ganondorf, doesn't it? Like I said, don't take these cuts too seriously. And just in case anyone was going to comment this, Lucario is not a semi-clone of Mewtwo. They have like 3 moves in common. They're not even a pseudo-clone. A word I didn't even know existed until I started making this video. Part 2, the most attention the Ice Climbers will ever get on my channel. The rotten, no good weasel of the family, Smash for 3DS, is the only time where this has come into play. It couldn't handle the Ice Climbers being essentially 2 fully functional characters on screen at the same time. It also couldn't handle characters that can transform into other characters, so if you did that, you stopped doing that at the time of Smash 4. Now, it may be natural to think that if the next Smash game is on the big, new, fancy Switch 2, or whatever it ends up being, that it should be able to handle any character that appeared on the original Switch's Smash Bros., right? And while that's probable, it's not a guarantee. Like, what if the next Smash game included 32-player Smash, and the even bigger stage, the greater cave, twice as offensive? And maybe it couldn't handle 64 Ice Climbers on stage at once. Now, this category is highly speculative, so I'm only gonna cut the Ice Climbers here because they're the only characters in Smash history that have been cut because they literally could not work in a game before. Squirtle and Ivysaur could have worked as isolated characters like Charizard was, they just chose not to prioritize that idea. Also, if I didn't cut the Ices in this part, they were gonna get cut in part 4 anyway. Ha! Part 3, I sure can't wait to go to my third party. Been waiting for years for someone to invite me to something. Finally, there is one character remaining from the list of previously cut characters in Smash that we haven't talked about yet. Actually, there's 2. I haven't talked about Snake or Mewtwo yet. I'm gonna talk about Snake for now, but don't worry, we'll talk about Mewtwo in the next part. And despite what theories may be out there, all we know for truth is that Sakurai never even approached Kojima about the idea of Solid Snake returning for Smash 4. Couple that with the 14 quintillion times that Sakurai has talked on camera about how hard it is to get third-party characters in this game. Yes, I counted, and all third-party characters are going in the trash. And just like that, I have fixed competitive Smash. I got rid of all the characters you guys hate. Now, I do need to cut all third parties because, you know, no exceptions. But if I can just put in some subjective commentary real quick. If I were to keep 2 third parties around, it would be Sonic and Mega Man. We know they were the most requested third-party characters for Smash, and Sakurai is on record as saying that they were relatively easy to work with their rights holders to get them put into the game. They feel like Smash's quintessential third parties to me. Yeah, they're still dead. Part 4. Hey, I think we might be over halfway through the video now, and I haven't even said the words Fire Emblem yet. Look at me go. One last observation that I want to make about the previously cut characters in Smash real quick. 7 out of the 11 cut characters came from series that have 3 or more characters represented in Smash. The big boys. And Pokemon has received more cuts than any other series, 3 of which were completely unique characters, not to mention Jigglypuff was considered to be cut in both Melee and Brawl. Heck, we can take this beyond just the cut characters. You have Jigglypuff, Wolf, Toon Link, Mewtwo, Lucina, Roy, Dr. Mario, so many more that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head that made it into the game but were considered by Sakurai to be low priority, all of which coming from those big 3+ character series. Lucario, another example, and another completely unique character that we have evidence to say was low priority for Brawl. And this lines up a lot with how Sakurai has talked in the past. I remember in a GDC conference he did for Brawl, he said that franchise distribution is a factor when determining who's going to end up on the roster. So if something's getting too big for its britches, that's reason to trim it down, if possible. So it's characters from the big honkin' series. We're talking Mario, Pokemon, and Fire Emblem that are going to be in the crosshairs for this. Now, it would be against the point of this video for me to just like dive into like my preferences for like who in those franchises to go. Here's how we're going to make cuts for this category. We're going to go through those 3 big franchises, Mario, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, and any character who we know for a fact was considered low priority, like I was talking about earlier, they're going to be gone. For Mario, that means Bowser Jr. and Piranha Plant. For Pokemon, Mewtwo, Jigglypuff, and Lucario are now gone. And by the way, there's no evidence that the original 12 are like sacred, which is why I'm okay with cutting Jigglypuff and Luigi. Personally, I feel like that might be shifting, but as far as like the hard evidence goes, we know Sakurai considered cutting original 12 members so many times. You know, I really want to keep Pokemon Trainer together just for simplicity's sake, but I said no exceptions. Squirtle and Ivysaur, I literally called lower priority earlier in the video. So, Charizard's on his own again. Shoot. Huge win for Rock Smash fans. Now, Fire Emblem actually has no evidence of any character being low priority that I didn't already cut in a previous section, so actually no one's getting cut from Fire Emblem in this category. Oops. Part 5. You have no future. I am talking specifically to you. Here's another quote from Sakurai that I pulled up. Characters in series that have no plans for future releases or a low possibility of future releases inevitably will be considered lower priority. And he says in a completely separate interview, characters from a series that has no future are rarely chosen. Now, this is the only section in this video where all we have to go off of is Sakurai's quotes. I can't think of any instance in the past where a character has been cut, and the reason for them getting cut is because they were irrelevant. But in the spirit of these massive trim the roster, cut it in half, only 20 characters left kind of videos we've been seeing lately, I want to run with this. But before I go too crazy and just cut every single classic character on the roster, I think it would only be fair, since we're just using Sakurai quotes on this one, I do want to bring up another Sakurai quote to go along with this. He's been quoted before saying that some characters are important to have on the roster as kind of a representative character for the series. And when combined with the precedent of who's been cut before, who's been considered for cut, who hasn't been considered for cut, I'm taking this to mean, for the sake of this video, that Sakurai does not want to completely eliminate series that have multiple reps. He has eliminated series that only have 1 reps, but he's never wiped out a series with multiple characters before. And I think that lines up with this idea he talks about a representative character. That said, I got the list right here. Let's see who peaked too early. For the time being, it seems like Zelda has no plans to keep using Sheik. Game & Watch and Rob are super gone. Wii Fit Trainer, nope. Little Mac, Nope, wow, that hurts. We're kicking out Palutena and just keeping Pit. You should have given us that remake. Duck Hunt's gone, K. Rool's gone, and controversial point that makes me really sad. Gonna say Min Min's gone. Oh, I hope I'm wrong about that. If I can be wrong about one thing in this video, let it be that. Zero Suit Samus is such a sneaky technicality, because we do technically see her in every Metroid game. And now that the Metroid franchise is back, I don't think they're getting rid of Ridley anytime soon. Splatoon and Animal Crossing are kind of doing okay right now. They're probably safe. Kirby, Super Evergreen, all those characters. Yoshi, Wario, and the DK duo are Mario characters, so that helps. Pikmin's hanging in there okay. Congrats on your game award. Shulk was a playable character in the last piece of Xenoblade content we got. Pyra and Mythra were also referenced there. It's an ongoing story. And since we're not talking about newcomers in this video, Pyra and Mythra are actually the most recent reps from the best-selling game in its Switch era. Oh, the Miis! I want to cut the Miis so bad. Put that dev time into something else, but I can't say they have no future. They're literally baked into the OS of the Switch. They're right there on the settings page. Whatever, you're safe. You're only getting one slot on the final roster, though. I'm condensing all three of you into one square, stacked Echo style. And the last ones to hit here are the array of Fire Emblem characters that I sectioned off at the end here, because they're an especially hot topic, right? Marth's Evergreen, he's referenced in everything. Byleth, like the Aegis's, is from the newest game on the Smash roster, which is also the best-selling game. That leaves us with Ike, Robin, Corrin. Oh boy. Should all three stay? I mean, probably. They're all super popular. They're all in Engaged and in Heroes, so they're relevant in the modern day. I know there's a portion of the Smash world that thinks Fire Emblem only needs like 2 reps, but these don't hit any of the 5 criteria, so yeah. I think Fire Emblem's running away with the most characters out of any series on this roster. Hey, come on, it's not like I wasn't harsh. I cut Luigi. They dodged all 5 of these criteria. You gotta give it up to them for that. And so, here is our trimmed down Smash roster. This roster has 38 characters, which is very close to the size of Brawl's roster. And here is Ultimate's roster, with all of the cut characters lovingly crossed out. And yeah, with just those 5 guidelines, we've eliminated 52%, over half of the characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate without even breaking a sweat. And I think that's pretty cool. Now obviously, I don't think all these characters are getting cut. I definitely don't want all these characters getting cut. But for the characters who did survive, that is mighty impressive. Considering 0 exceptions were made, like, these are the characters that you really have to think twice about when you're deciding who you think is going to be likely for cuts in the next game. And seriously, thank you for sitting through another video of some guy sitting down talking about who might get cut in the next Smash game. I hope I was able to make it either unique or educational in some way. And if you want to watch more, here's another video that for some reason YouTube thinks you will like. And remember to keep on blasting. Nope. I got nothing. Try again next video.